What the social journey means truly to me, in my own words, is living life to the fullest. For many reasons, people as a whole base their decision on who to talk to, what to eat, where to go for entertainment or travel, what school to go to, and the like, out of fear rather than the possible benefits. I won't get into all the reasons why people of other races won't talk to a 6 foot black man. I'll save that for another day. But what's the reason for not talking to a 5 foot, 100 pound Asian woman? Language is the first and most common reason people say. It seems legit until you think about it honestly and say English is a worldwide language at this point in history, and most people that an American would come in contact with can at very least understand you, if not have a whole conversation. So is that legitimate? One of my favorite foods is sushi. Many people have an irrational fear of sushi because it's raw, not understanding that this isn't a fish from the Missouri River or your grandfather's pond. Not only that, but billions with a B, eat raw fish every day, as is one of the most sustainable proteins in the world, and due to lack of available technology in many countries, people aren't able to cook food every day. Many men eat raw fish out of necessity, but also, and more likely, because it's okay. If a young white male or woman wants to go to the other side of town to a club or party that has people who don't look like them in areas deemed to be bad by people who don't live there, they are met with all the reason under the sun and moon of why it's a no and why it's best for them if they don't. Then these kids end up with viewpoints and opinions that some find offensive and or racist. The adults involved are quick to say they didn't raise them like that or say things like that. We don't use those kind of language in our homes. Probably true, but out of fear, you force them to be around people who do think that way and say those things. The kids knowing it and try to get away from it in a roundabout way by going to the other side of town, but other people's irrational fears wouldn't let them. Many people don't travel to Africa because the image the media portrays is impoverished slums infested with dangerous and violent disease-ridden cannibals. There's no proof that Africans have ever been cannibals, but plenty of that Europeans have. Europeans brought disease and the idea of violence as a tool for power to Africa, and there are many developed cities in Africa that are never shown on TV and movies or even talked about because most people won't ever go. For all the wrong reasons, might I add. FYI, Africa will be an ongoing theme on this show. At the ripe age of 19, I moved to Honolulu, Hawaii to go to Honolulu Community College with my best friend. That's right, community college. Most people ask, why did I go to community college way out there? I usually retort with, why not? The answers are wide ranging, including that's just far for community college. I heard it's expensive out there, but mostly that's just too far from home. My response is I needed to get far from home, far away as possible, actually. The other option still on the table to this day is a school in Alaska, which originally was the first option because at the time people were getting paid thousands of dollars per week to work in the oil industry out there. Why all counselors are not useless, because once I told one of my counselors my college plans and the choice between Hawaii and Alaska, they may have gave me the best advice I ever got, which was, would you rather go somewhere that will be cold and snow and inhabitable for 9 months of the year, or somewhere that will be perfect weather and women all year round? The decision was made at that instant. Hawaii was. The other most frequent question is, you weren't scared? This is what sticks with me the most, because it highlights not only how much or little people know about other places and countries, but more important, how little people understand their own situation. My family, friends, and associates, my hometown of Kansas City, Missouri, access more than anyone else. I'm going to preface the next comments with a quote by Harriet Tubman, who said her biggest accomplishment and disappointment in life was the number of slaves she was able to free. If she freed thousands, she could have freed millions if only they knew they were slaves. This is so relevant because my logic for going to Hawaii was to get as far away from my tormentors as possible, while others around me, some in much worse situations, see no reason to leave their block, hood, community, city, nor state. I understand how volatile that situation really is. like slaves, would rather deal with the devil they know than one they don't. I love my town because it does make me the person I am, but there are some hard facts that are hard to overlook. I grew up in a time where Tennessee was called the murder capital of the world. There's real war zones such as Iraq and Afghanistan for many years in a row. Missouri, the suburb of Kansas City, where my best friend was from, was the meth capital of the world for many years in a row. He actually lived next door to a meth lab. Him and his family used to wake up with nosebleeds all the time until one day, finally, the meth lab blew up and it became apparent what was causing the nosebleeds. Most of the violence and crime that happens in Kansas City has been scientifically and statistically proven to happen in a 13 square mile radius that contains mostly minorities and poor people. Anyone who lives in that radius, as I did and do, doesn't need science to tell us that. Crack hit so hard here that crackheads were stealing starter jackets and Jordans off kids in the middle of the winter and leaving them with no shoes and coats in the snow. It became so frequent that schools had to tell students not to come to school with certain kinds of coats and shoes or they would be sent home. All this to say, what did I have to be scared of? To me, it's more scary to think of what my life would have been like if I didn't leave. Even more scary to think that people go their whole lives and don't see the need nor have the desire to get the hell out of here as soon as possible. Which gets me to my main point. People are scared of the unknown first and fear change just as much, if not more. These fears stem from the same thing: ignorance. Ignorance is bliss, but it is also the root of most irrational fears. Knowledge is power, and what you do on a daily, more knowledge gives you control, and others do on a daily basis if enough is attained. Let's get into this. Oxford Dictionary defines ignorant as 1. Lacking knowledge or awareness in general, undereducated or unsophisticated. 2. Lacking knowledge, info, or awareness about a particular thing. Knowledge. 1. Facts, info, and skills acquired by a person through experience or education. The theoretical or practical understanding of a subject. 2. Awareness or familiarity gained by experience of a fact or situation. Oxford. Power. The ability to do something or act in a particular way, especially as a faculty or quality. 2. The capacity or ability to direct or influence the behavior of others or the course of events. Oxford. Ignorantia juris non excusat, or Ignorantia legis neminem excusat. Ignorance of the law excuses not, or ignorance of law excuses no, is a Latin term used in law as legal principle holding that a person who is unaware of law may not escape liability for violating that law merely because one was unaware of its contents. This is something that affects millions of Americans every day, getting charged with crimes and being held legally liable for things that seem simple and innocent, but because of not knowing the law and not knowing their rights, get ran through the injustice system and affects them for the rest of their life. In business, we say you pay for what you don't know. Example being lawyers for not knowing the law, consultants for not knowing certain aspects of business, specialists such as plumbers, electricians, programmers, and the like. You have to pay a lot of money for those things when you could go to school and save much money to do it yourself. Doctors are a big one. The medical industry is working in billions and billions of dollars every year off people's ignorance of their bodies, their health, and the natural cures and other holistic methods that are actually effective, saying that most prescription drugs and even most doctors don't guarantee to cure anything, but yet we pay these people billions and billions of dollars every year. As a business student with a minor in economics, I contend we live in a transactional society. Most of the modern world performs some type of financial transaction on a daily basis, be it getting some gas, eating some cigarettes, bread, milk, etc., etc., etc. With the ease of the internet, shopping and shipping to date, if you go on a whole day without transacting and the natural requirements throughout your day, the internet will make sure you get your fix. Even if it's paying a bill, sitting there with your budgeted money for the day with nothing to do with it, then you see the email, Capital One bill due, and I'm sorry.